Our travel takes us to Bryce Canyon as it celebrates its 100th year of being a national park. Our visit is timed to see the hoodoos when they are still dusted in snow. This touch of white adds a beautiful contrast of color to the hoodoos and canyon walls of this unbelievable park. We spend a day and travel the length of the park, capturing several amazing vistas, and conclude with hiking down into the heart of the park, that being an area named Queen's Garden. We are departing the town of Escalante and have chosen a park just outside the town of Cedar City. This location affords equally good access to both Bryce Canyon as well as Zion National Park. Our plans include meeting up with our daughter and son-in-law and jointly visiting both Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park. Cedar Canyon is central to both parks, and it offers housing for our visiting guests as well as various food establishments and a sundry of stores. Our drive to Cedar Canyon passes by the town of Bryce and presents beautiful roadside sights. Cedar City sits at the western edge of the Cedar Mountains and at an elevation of 5,850 feet, although it feels like it's actually in a valley, as entering it requires passing over the mountains. As we near Cedar Mountains, which are a part of the Rockies, we come across a lot of flooding, which is the result of melting snow. Snow has been heavy and stayed late in this region. Getting closer to Cedar City, we travel on UT-14, which still has a large amount of snow on either side of the road. The road leading into Cedar City is quite lovely for the passengers, but the driver must remain vigilant and focused on the road. It is quite curvy and includes very steep angles of descent. We settle into our campsite, which is located just before entry into the quaint town of Cedar City. We quickly complete setting up as snow has started to fall on us. Once complete, we stand back and find that the location is really quite beautiful. It's the next day and we pick the kids up at a very fashionable coffee shop near their Airbnb. Our guests favor starting each morning with fresh donuts and lots of coffee. Can't say I blame them. We begin the 90-minute drive to Bryce Canyon, one of the best changes that we've made since transitioning to full-time RV living is always taking the time to take in what the environment has to offer around us. During our drive, we make a few stops at scenic points to take in pictures of the amazing landscapes.
I know, I'm scared. Where does this snow become?
One of the first stops is aptly named Zion Overlook. On this day, however, the visibility is greatly limited by the haze in the air that is the result of smoke coming from the fires burning in Canada. Of course, we stop and take several photos of ourselves at the park sign. From there, we head to the visitor center, where Patty gets her passport book stamped, and we discover the conditions within the park. This early in the season, many of the trails remain closed as they are in poor condition due to the presence of snow still on the trails. This will come into play when we begin to hike down from the rim into the canyon amphitheater. When you enter into the park, it feels like you're traveling west to east. However, the park is a single road that runs north to south. We choose to first travel to the southern end of the park and to begin exploring from there. While there are some hikes worth taking at the southern end of the park, the main reason for traveling there is to take in the amazing views that exist there. The southern end of the park is a full 1,000 feet higher than the entrance to the park. To reach the far end of the park, you travel about 18 miles on the park road. The Bryce Amphitheater area is within the first 3 miles of the road. The last 15 miles feature many stopping points to take in the incredible vistas. The final 15 miles is known as the Southern Scenic Drive. The parking lot at the southern end provides access to 2 viewing points. As you enter the parking lot, the first one you encounter is called Yovimpa Point. Because you are so much higher than everything around you, the views here are incredible. On a clear day, looking south and east, you can see the grand staircase. This isn't possible on this day though, as the smoke from the Canadian fires are cutting viewing distance down to about 20 miles. From the same parking lot, you make a second walk to the next viewing point. Equally spectacular is Rainbow Point. Here, however, you are looking north, back into Bryce Canyon. Next to Bryce Point, the views here are generally considered the second best within the park. There are hiking trails at this end of the park as well, and in better conditions, if you have the time, the Riggs Spring Loop Trail is a very nice hike. Quoting from the National Park website, below you and to either side are beautiful exposures of Bryce Canyon's pink cliffs, soft, limey mudstones colored by iron oxide. The sandstone was and is being shaped into beautiful forms by rain and the power of frost and ice wedging that you can see occurring before you here today. Below the pink, orange, and now white, although partly obscured by the forest, are the soft marine shales and silts of the Great Cliffs. Farther still are deep canyons carved into the sandstones of the White Cliffs. We are not alone, but the sparse crowds are not typical. It is still very early in the season, and few people are willing to drive the 40 miles to reach here, nor are they willing to brave the much colder temperatures at this end of the park. However, you are benefiting from their loss. If you do come during summer, expect the Rainbow Point viewing area to be a herd of people snapping photos here. Leaving Rainbow Point, we head back north towards the park entrance. There are several stops worth making on the return trip. Our first is at Birch Canyon. Here too are incredible sights of the exposed sandstone cliffs and beautiful shapes. At the third stop is one of the most photographed features within the park, the natural bridge, which is not a bridge at all. It is, in fact, an arch for those that are keeping score. Our fourth stop is at Farview Point, so named as on a clear day, you can see more than 100 miles from this point. Today, the small bump appearing along the crest is Navajo Mountain. Normally, this is clearly visible. It is at about 50 miles away.
Isn't that awesome?
Let's do it.
Our fifth and final stop before reaching the Bryce Amphitheater area is called Swamp Canyon Point. It is so named because here there are a couple of creeks and a spring that keep the area permanently wet. In good conditions, the best way to see this location is to combine two short hikes. That is the Navajo Loop with the Queen's Garden Trail. That is our plan today, although you will soon see that we need to adjust our thinking. After walking a short way along the rim trail, we reach the trailhead and begin down. The views on this trail are simply incredible. On this trail is arguably the most famous hoodoo in the park, that is Thor's Hammer. In addition, you pass along two bridges and view a section of hoodoos known as Wall Street. You will know them when you see them. This is a section of hoodoos that looks like closely packed skyscrapers.
Hi, Jimmy.
This isn't bad.
No.
I could definitely see why this would be closed though. Yeah, just stay to the outside on this. It gets bad.
It's worth it.
Quiet, buddy. What is it,
Just do the light color. Don't pay attention to the side. There you go, Jenny. That's the That's probably the best thing. It'll dry. I know. So it's, you gonna get way ahead, Lucas? Or you gonna wait on them? Are you gonna wait on them, or you gonna get ahead?
Well, I think Patty's question was answered. I don't like to separate when trail conditions are such as should something happen and aid is needed, I want us to be right there to provide that assistance. We do pass a few couples that have come up this trail. Their reports on trail conditions do not match what we are seeing during our downward progression. This trail, amongst others, is closed during winter, and it is easy to see why. Snow is frequently covering much of the trail passage. Additionally, the melting snow is making the clay into a sticky goo that sticks to the bottoms of our boots. Here and there we come across a few spots that are still frozen, and these locations present a challenge to navigate. This is not a great combination of conditions when the force of gravity is added into the mix. We tread very carefully and slowly down the trail. As we come to the bridge, we realize this is a great shot for a group photo. We stop, take the time, and capture that photo. As I have mentioned, the combined trails create a hike that is rated one of the best short hikes in the world. The intersection of the hikes is within a location known as the Queen's Garden. For the longest time, I didn't know why it was called this. The name relates to a statue of the Queen sitting on a horse. That statue has a striking similarity to a hoodoo within the garden area.
Well, if you fall, I'll have it on camera at least. I came more to the inside at that point.
At this point, the trail has now completely covered over with snow and ice, and it just presents way too much risk for us to fall. So we stop and begin to head back. A few more pictures, and we're on our way. The combined trails of Queen's Garden and Navajo Loop creates a 3-mile hike of unforgettable views. In the making of this video, I have really struggled to make the edits necessary to reduce its length. Trust me, a lot of beautiful shots are getting cut out. To see all of the photographs of our time at this park, head to our website where we've posted these, as well as other photos where we've traveled. Feel free to download anything you find on our site. I should note, however, these shots are slightly lower in quality, and should you want full quality, reach out to us and we can work out how to get the full quality images to you.
Oh well, Sledge is just standing there.
Definitely not used to this. It's our first time too, so.
The Queen's Garden Trail is without question the most popular hike in the park, and for good reason. It is a quick 1.8 mile out and back trail that provides fabulous vistages throughout its entire length and concludes at the Canyon Amphitheater. In addition to great views, this hike provides close-up perspectives to the hoodoos, allowing one a true perspective of their size and shape. Having arrived at the amphitheater, it is time to stop and take in the incredible hoodoo structures all around. From this vantage point, you now realize that there are full-sized evergreen trees all around, something that wasn't visible before. To see the Queen Hoodoo, one must take a very short spur trail from this location. Many people, us included, stop here and grab a bit of a snack while resting up for the hike back up. Not surprisingly, the local creatures have become very acclimated to human interaction, and they come right up to you and will take any food that you leave laying around. Well, quite cute, This is both bad for the animals and illegal, so please avoid the temptation to feed them. It really feels sad to be heading up and out of this trail, as from here we are leaving to return to our RV home. Everyone continues to stop and admire the incredible sights all around here. We really have to be thankful that 100 years ago this landscape was preserved for us to enjoy here and now today. So how long should you plan to spend at this park? In my humble opinion, it really requires a full day. But if you have 2 or 3, there are several longer hikes throughout the park that are absolutely worth undertaking. Some other hikes to consider are the Bristlecone Loop or Mossy Cave Trails, which are both short and offer seeing details of other parts of the park. Another hike that will require a full day is the Fairyland Loop Trail. Back at camp, we passed by a trailhead that has a shoe tree. I love this type of ritual object, and I always wondered what happenstance caused it to start. Today, we stop at the trailhead to snap a couple of pictures of the tree, and someone has driven several hours to toss their worn-out shoes into the tree. What a novel treat we are privy to.
Woohoo!
We are very appreciative of your joining us as we visit Bryce Canyon. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them, and we will do our very best to respond quickly. If you like the video, hit like and subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you again, as we are already working on our next video where we travel to Zion National Park. We are truly thankful that you have chosen to spend this time with us.